Hello, thank you for being here. Before you do anything else, allow yourself to pause for just a few seconds. Take a slow, deep breath. Because what is about to be shared is not a message for everyone. It is for those who have traveled very far, who have held themselves together for a very long time, and who have quietly begun to wonder, am I still on the right path? If you happen to hear this video at this exact moment in your life, that is not coincidence. Something is shifting around you, something powerful, strong enough that it can no longer be ignored. And before we go any deeper, listen carefully to what you feel in your chest right now. Because from this moment forward, the story you are about to step into is not about becoming someone else. It is about you, slowly remembering who you truly are. Sagittarius, as I sit down to speak these words to you, I can feel a very specific stillness surrounding you. Not an empty silence, but a deep one, like the moment just before the sun begins to rise. The air feels slower, each breath more noticeable, and within that space, something ancient is quietly moving again. Your energy right now no longer carries that familiar restless fire, the part of you that is always rushing forward, always chasing the next horizon. It feels calmer, steadier, like an arrow that has finally landed deep into the earth after a very long journey. No more trembling from impatience, no more being pulled by every voice outside of you. What remains is something real, something raw, something original. As if you have crossed a vast desert and finally found shade, sat down, placed a hand on your chest, and listened to your heartbeat in its own rhythm again. Something inside you is resonating at a very ancient frequency. It is not loud, it does not seek attention, it does not need recognition. It is like the wind moving through an old forest, heard only by those who are quiet enough to listen. Right. Now, the universe is not speaking loudly to you, Sagittarius. The universe is whispering. And the strange thing is, your soul hears it clearly. In nearly 27 years of watching human stories unfold, I rarely see a Sagittarius come to stillness like this. You are used to movement, to the hunger for new horizons, to the feeling that freedom always lives somewhere ahead. But this time is different. The energy around you is no longer pushing you to go anywhere. It is inviting you to stay with yourself, to stay with the parts of you that were left behind while you were busy chasing big ideals, big visions, big responsibilities. This is not sudden luck. It is not a gift falling from the sky. What is opening around you now is the result of a very long road, a road where you experienced enough disappointment to understand faith, enough loss to value what remained, and enough loneliness to realize that real connection always begins within. Every time you fell and stood back up, every time you kept going even when you were unsure, every time you endured in silence instead of complaining. All of it quietly shaped this moment, this frequency, this opening. Lately, you may feel like you are not the same person you used to be. Things that once excited you feel strangely flat. Goals that once kept you awake at night no longer make your heart race the same way. That does not mean you are lost. Quite the opposite. It means your soul is recalibrating its compass. You no longer need to chase every road. You are learning how to recognize the one that is truly yours. In this quiet space, so much light is being gathered around you. Not the kind of light that demands attention, but the kind that warms you from the inside. It carries gentleness, understanding, and a sense of safety you may not have allowed yourself to feel for a very long time. This is where you begin to understand that strength does not mean constant forward motion, and freedom is not running away. It is being able to stay with yourself without feeling trapped. Allow yourself to breathe more slowly here. Allow unanswered questions to exist without rushing to solve them. Allow old emotions to rise and fade like gentle waves. You do not need to do anything more to deserve what is coming. You have already done enough. Now, all that is required is listening, presence, because when you truly stay with this moment, another door is quietly opening, leading you to a deeper understanding where what once felt like loss reveals itself as preparation, and where the light ahead is no longer far away. It is already spreading softly from within you. There is an important truth gently coming into view right now, and this time, it does not arrive like a sudden impact. It comes slowly, slow enough for you to recognize it, slow enough that fear no longer has to lead the way. What is falling apart around you in this moment is not a sign of loss, and it is not failure. It is the sound of old layers cracking open, of structures that once helped you survive, but have now become too tight for the soul you are growing into. You may have wondered why certain relationships have suddenly grown distant, why beliefs that once felt solid now begin to tremble, why roles you carried with such devotion no longer feel right. That is not because you did something wrong. It is because you have outgrown what those structures were able to hold. You are no longer the person you were yesterday, and life is honestly reflecting that truth back to you. For a very long time, you built invisible walls just to survive. Walls made of responsibility, of expectations, of always needing to appear strong and self-contained. Those walls held you upright through your hardest seasons, but they also kept you from noticing when you began to feel suffocated. Now, as those walls start to fall, the first feeling may be disorientation, a sense of empty space, an uncertainty about where you will stand when the old supports are gone. You once believed that strength was required to earn respect, that showing exhaustion or vulnerability would cost you your position. You believed that freedom meant never being weak, that the one who leads does not have the right to stop. And you believed that if you did not keep moving forward, if you did not keep going, you would be left behind. Those beliefs carried you far, but they also placed an unnecessary weight on your shoulders. Right now, your soul is learning a different lesson, one that is deeper and far more gentle. That strength does not always live in tension. That courage is not only about moving forward, but also about allowing yourself to stop when you are tired. And that laying the bow down does not take away who you are. It allows you to reconnect with it more fully than ever before. What is collapsing is not here to take something precious from you. It is here to release you from roles you have worn for too long. When the old layers fall away, you may feel exposed, vulnerable, almost bare. But it is in that state that a simple truth begins to surface. You do not have to strain to be worthy. You are already enough, even when you're doing nothing at all. There may be days when you feel unsteady, as if the ground beneath you is no longer firm. But if you allow yourself to remain with that feeling, without running from it, you will notice something else forming, a different foundation, one not built on the expectations of others, but on a deeper understanding of who you truly are. You begin to see the difference between what you genuinely want and what you have been doing out of habit or fear. As the old structures dissolve, a new space quietly opens. Quieter, wider, and safe enough for you to finally set down the burdens you no longer need to carry. You are not being asked to become someone else. You are simply being invited to return to who you were before all the roles and obligations settled on your shoulders. And as you allow yourself to soften, a gentle sense of relief begins to spread. As if for the first time in a long while, you are no longer bracing against anything. Within that relief, you begin to understand something clearly. What is leaving your life is not taking your light away. It is giving you empty hands again, so you can receive a new way of living. One where you no longer have to fight to prove your worth and are free to exist within it. And as you stand still inside this new and open space, another light is quietly moving closer. Not demanding, not forcing, just waiting for the moment you are ready to see it. There is a very specific moment that begins to appear after the old layers have fallen away. A moment that, if you are not quiet enough, you might mistake for confusion. But in truth, this is when the greatest battle finally reveals itself, not loudly, not with impact or collision, but as a very subtle movement inside you. The conflicts you have been feeling lately do not come from the outside world, not from work, not entirely from people, and not purely from circumstances. They are born in a very private space where you are beginning to face yourself with more honesty than ever before. Within that space, two rhythms exist at the same time. One part of you is still used to needing clear direction, to seeing farther than others, to providing quick, accurate answers. That part once helped you survive, helped you stand steady, helped you become someone others relied on. But alongside it, another part is beginning to speak, softly yet firmly. This part no longer wants to rush, no longer feels the need to explain everything. It allows itself to not know yet, to not be certain, to not move right away. Between these two rhythms, an old question rises again, familiar, persistent. If I stop, do I still have value? That question is not new. It followed you through many seasons, hidden beneath decisions that looked logical on the surface. It pushed you to keep going even when you were exhausted, to give just a little more even when your body and heart were already speaking. But now, as you allow yourself to remain still long enough, that question begins to lose its power. You start to see it not as a truth to obey, but as a tired inner voice asking to be soothed. Your value was never about speed. It was never about how much you carry or how much you can endure. Your value lives in your honesty with yourself, in your ability to feel, in the integrity of each choice you make, even when that choice is to stop. You were not born to run endlessly. You were born to live, to feel, to experience each moment fully, even the moments without answers. When you allow your breath to slow, what changes is not movement itself, but clarity. Things that once blurred together in constant motion begin to take on softer, truer shapes. The light within you does not fade when you slow down. It becomes more focused, more warm, like a flame no longer scattered by the wind. Within that light, you begin to distinguish the voice of your soul from the noise of habit and expectation. There may be moments when this new rhythm feels unfamiliar. Silence can feel unsettling when you are used to motion. But it is inside this quiet that a different kind of wisdom is forming. A wisdom that does not come from knowing everything, but from knowing when to wait. Not from control, but from trust. You begin to understand that not every road needs to be mapped, and not every journey requires a plan from the start. In this open space, you also begin to sense your healthy boundaries more clearly. You no longer feel the need to prove strength by bracing yourself. You allow softness without self-blame. You allow yourself to say no without guilt. And this honesty creates a different kind of strength, quiet, steady, unimpressive on the surface, yet undeniable. As you stay with this inner movement long enough, something very subtle begins to happen. You no longer feel like you are fighting. Instead, you feel as though you are reconciling with the parts once left behind, with old choices, with the version of yourself from the past. And within that reconciliation, a new sense of peace begins to emerge, as if, for the first time after a long journey, you no longer need to go anywhere else to feel complete. From that peace, another awareness slowly opens, guiding you toward a very different kind of morning, one where light no longer comes from effort or performance or striving, but from allowing yourself to simply be who you are, fully, honestly, and without hurry. That moment arrives very gently, so gently that if you are still searching for a dramatic sign, you might miss it. But your soul does not miss it. It recognizes it instantly, the way the body recognizes the very first light after a long night. The image of the sun at dawn appears, not carrying harsh brightness, not carrying pressure to shine. It is a soft kind of light, spreading slowly, needing no permission to exist, needing no proof to be worthy. It is simply present, and that is enough. That light touches you in a very different way. It does not push you to become someone else. It does not ask you to be better, stronger, or faster. It simply stays, warm enough to remind you that you have already made it through the night, and that you no longer need to tense yourself anymore. In that moment, a very quiet truth settles into your heart. You no longer need to explain who you are. You no longer need to shape your words to fit the ears of others. You no longer need to adjust yourself to match standards that were never meant for you. What truly belongs to you does not need to be chased. When you stop running, when you stop trying to impress, a natural pull begins to form. The people who truly see you, not your role, not your achievements, begin to find their way toward you. They recognize you not by what you say, but by the sense of calm they feel when they are near you. At the same time, what no longer fits quietly moves away. No arguments, no clinging, no pain the way you once feared, just everything returning to where it truly belongs. In the light of that early morning, you begin to understand something clearly. Real validation never came from the outside. It arrives in the moment you no longer need to be validated. When you stand firmly within yourself, not defending, not performing, not shrinking, your light becomes visible on its own. Not a light that makes others impressed, but a light that makes them feel safe. And that kind of light is rare, deep, and only appears when a person stops trying to be special. Another important truth also begins to reveal itself now. You are relearning an art you once forgot, or never allowed yourself to practice. The art of receiving care without feeling indebted, receiving help without judging yourself as weak, receiving affection without fearing you are a burden. You were once so used to giving that it felt like the only way to survive. But now, you are realizing that balance is what sustains you long term. When you open yourself to receive, you do not become dependent. You become more human. You allow the current to move both ways, and because of that, you no longer feel depleted. The opportunities arriving now do not come loudly. They arrive like doors opening the moment you stop knocking, like simple encounters that leave a lasting echo, like recognition that appears when you are no longer waiting for it. That morning light continues to spread, not only around you, but within you. You begin to feel safe being yourself, safe speaking honestly, safe remaining silent, safe not knowing everything. And within that safety, you no longer need to strain to shine. You simply exist, and light naturally flows from that honesty. As you move through this new day, without urgency, without defense, a different feeling walks beside you. The feeling that you do not need to go anywhere to begin living. Life is already here, in each breath, each step, each small but honest choice. And from this full presence, something beautiful is quietly forming, like a gentle invitation guiding you deeper into a new journey. A journey where you no longer need to prove your worth, but only allow yourself to receive what has always been waiting for you. And as you begin to learn the art of receiving, something very unusual happens inside you. Not a sudden rush of excitement that rises and fades, but a quiet, steady warmth, as if someone finally placed a coat around your shoulders after a long road battered by the wind. You have been used to standing tall, used to bracing yourself, used to reminding yourself to be just a little stronger. But right now, what the universe is teaching you is not how to move faster. It is how to return, slowly, deeply, and honestly. Sagittarius, listen carefully. You are not lost. You are coming home to yourself, coming back to the part of you that was once clear and open, that believed in goodness, that had the courage to walk forward even without a map in hand. Coming back to the dream you once folded away, tucked into a quiet corner, because you thought you had to take care of others first, stabilize everything first, finish everything first, before you were allowed to live for yourself. But life does not wait for perfection to grant you happiness. Life is only waiting for you to stop asking permission. The tears you have shed recently are not weakness. They are release. There are pains that have lived in your body for a long time, not because you wanted to keep them, but because you became very skilled at enduring. You moved through so much by offering a small smile, saying you were fine, and continuing on. But the body does not forget. The heart does not forget. And now, with the sun rising, with light soft enough that you no longer need to shield your eyes, everything begins to flow out in the most natural way. Layers of exhaustion fall away like dust from the road. Layers of expectation drop like old armor. You are not losing your strength. You are simply letting go of what no longer fits. You may have asked yourself, if I stop doing everything, do I still have value? That question echoes like an old sound in a deep cave. But a new answer is arriving now, clear and compassionate. Your value was never measured by how many people you saved, how much you carried, or how fast you moved. Your value lives in your presence, in your heart, in the way you love, without keeping score, in the courage to stand up again after moments you thought you could not. And now, you are allowed to live as a human being, not as a task. The future opening before you is so bright, it leaves you momentarily still. Not because it is loud, but because it is right. So right you do not need to convince anyone. So right you do not need to decorate it, exaggerate it, or strain to prove it. It feels like stepping into a room and exhaling fully for the first time, as if this space was always meant for you. You will begin to notice that what belongs to you does not need to be chased. The right opportunities arrive naturally. A simple invitation, a door opening, a meeting that happens at exactly the right moment, a message you did not expect, recognition from places you never imagined. And you will practice saying a sentence you rarely used before. Thank you, I receive. For the first time in a long while, you do not need to run toward the future. It is moving toward you, like light reaching the window each morning, like a new season arriving when the tree is ready to change its leaves. All you need to do is stand there, in your truth, in your breath, in your gratitude. Allow yourself to slow down just a little. Place a hand over your heart. Feel the rhythm there. That heartbeat is not asking what you have accomplished. It is only reminding you that you are alive and that you deserve to live a life that truly feels like your own. If you feel called, leave a simple line in the comments as a gentle promise to yourself. I am ready to receive. And as you write it, notice a small quiet space opening inside, a place where peace can step in. Sit down and stay.